Hey, it's Thursday, and welcome to Soccer Talk. I'm Bo Williams.
And I'm Greg Rocool. Bo, how are we doing today? Another busy week of international and
Yeah,
domestic soccer.
yeah, all kinds of stuff going on. It seems like it used to be you'd have that period of time where there just wasn't any soccer to watch on television. Now it's just year-round, 24/7. So if you love the beautiful game, obviously this is a great time to be a fan. And from the lower leagues all the way to MLS to international play, like you said, we've got it every time you turn around. There's another match going on. Plus, Scottish Premier League starts this weekend, so we got that now.
Wow,
Add to the mix.
unbelievable.
I love the SPL, so there you go.
I mean, yes,
Go
usually
Hawks.
there is that, maybe 2-3 week period in July where, you get a little downtown and downtime, maybe
Right.
get a chance to do some chores or something.
Even
but
Liga MX takes a break, and you're thinking, well, there's nothing on television.
Exactly,
But
but
now, constant.
Exactly. Now that, MLS has delegated, the whole month of July to the League's Cup, we've got, European teams all around this nation right now getting ready for their preseason, doing a variety of friendlies, both against, some domestic teams and, those big ticket, high dollar friendlies that we see
Right.
at some of the, really marquee stadiums of this nation.
And I know we're going to talk some soccer outside of One Knox coming up, but I do want to ask you, since you brought it up, League's Cup, just your thoughts. My brother, who's a season ticket holder for Atlanta United, sent me a text the other night and said, "What's going on?" It's like MLS has kind of found a groove here in this, at least in the early stages of this cup, right, of this tournament. The teams, for the most part, doing pretty well. I'm not slamming Nashville, but
Yeah.
but for the most part, they seem to be faring pretty well. I mean, is it just a case of Major League Soccer? These teams are finally now starting to, they've got a better footing. Got, the plans are in place. They've got great academies. They're bringing in better players from abroad, even finding better players here within the U.S. What is it? What do you think, or have you noticed something like that about MLS players these teams compared to?
I
League
think
MLS?
that's definitely a part of it. I mean, the growth of Major
Yeah.
League Soccer over the last couple of years, even before the advent of League's Cup, has been pretty evident. I think
Now, the All-Star game would say different. I have to throw that in there, because obviously we know how that one came out. But just overall, it seems like MLS teams are faring a lot better these days.
Exactly. I will say, Liga MX, just the way that their season is set up with the two different,
That's true.
competitions, really. They just got the Clausura, I believe, their kind of second season just started. I think they're only 4 or 5 matches into
True.
that kind
So they're
of
early
second
going.
season.
Yeah.
So not exactly in mid-season form like MLS comes into this tournament. And, you have the added challenge, I guess, of travel
Travel is
of
going
coming
to be
to
an issue,
America.
yeah.
They have tried to alleviate that a little bit this year with some of the more high-ranking Liga MX teams are get U.S. hubs to where most of their games are to kind of limit some of that travel and, kind of garner that big fan base in places like Houston and Los Angeles. So, yeah, I think it is a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. We've seen the growth of Major League Soccer. We're in this new transfer period for MLS right now, the summer window. They did add some new rules to allow some of these teams to make more signings, more U23 signings.
Yeah.
So whenever you have the opportunity to add good young players
Yeah.
to a growing league like MLS, that's only going to be in their favor. But as we've seen in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, kind of historically, when MLS does have to go to Mexico and play in some of those knockout games, it still is a big challenge,
tough- yeah,
a tough
it's a
mountain
tough-
to climb. We've seen some teams do it. Seattle Sounders finally became the first MLS team to win the CONCACAF Champions League, in its current format. So MLS does have, the advantages of, when they're hosting and,
And that is true.
at
That is-
midseason.
and that is a great point too. I mean, like you said, they took a break. They haven't hit their stride yet. Plus, the games are still played here. So yeah, there are a lot of things to factor in there. But I do think it's good for Major League Soccer. It sends a good message for them.
Exactly. I think I saw the MLS was 12-4 against Liga MX teams over this first round of games. Still have a couple more, I think, over the next couple days before we reach that exciting knockout
Yes,
round.
which is always exciting. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the performance by MLS thus far has been, a real positive and, a point of pride. You see the competition play out in a variety of factors, whether that's, their domestic leagues, in some of this international competition, with some of these friendlies, Liga MX in America always draws incredibly well. So that does it's another challenge that MLS has to face whenever
Right.
they do host these Liga MX sides, is that, you're going to get a crackling atmosphere pretty much every
and it may
time.
not always feel like a home game for the MLS teams, depending on where they're playing. That is for sure. We're still seeing that today. But just want to get your thoughts on that. Of course, I'm just coming off a high because Charlotte did not lose last night. They had to go to PKs against Cruz Azul, but hey, it was nice to see Charlotte FC.
Yeah, Charlotte putting together a great season. They're really in the Nashville role this year of being, one of the most defensively solid teams in Major League Soccer, with just getting some timely goal contributions where they can. But, Dean Smith has come in and made the Charlotte side, a really tough proposition for a lot of teams.
Well, like, being from North Carolina, when you put a coach in named Dean Smith, if you follow college basketball, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, let's talk One Knox here for a little bit. Obviously, they had a game against Greenville. No goals in this one, but there were definitely some opportunities for both teams to try to snag a lead here and possibly a win.
Exactly. Going on the road against a really difficult Greenville Triumph side that is just right up there at the top with the best of USL League One thus far, and this is a team that has really gotten the better of Knoxville for most of their USL League One existence. Knoxville went on I remember one of their first road matches last year when they first came into League One was against Greenville, and they won on the what was his name? Sebastian Andreasen, the Norwegian striker, had that kind of scorpion, kind of back heel flick, which ended up being the difference in that one. But since then, Knoxville had lost 4 in a row coming into this one. But I just wanted to grab a couple of big moments from this match. I wanted to see this one early in the first half. We talked so much about the kind of combination that Stuart Ritchie offers on that left-hand side. And, I really think Angelo Kelly, you see him dribbling here with the ball, is at his best when he really is in that final third, or kind of dribbling into that final third with the ball at his feet. We get the cross in here, a couple knockdowns. Knoxville stays on both of those kind of second and third balls to where it falls to Rudy Castro, lays it off to Callum Johnson, and then a great strike that, really was inches away from opening the scoring here.
But it was nice. You see the guys working it around well, continue to try to keep up that pressure. It was nice to see Callum Johnson, unfortunately, unable to finish that one off. But Johnson, I don't know if that was kind of a homecoming. I mean, he played at Clemson. They're playing at Furman there. It's kind of it's the upstate of South Carolina, so I'm sure he probably had some friends or some folks there trying to cheering him on. But kind of back to his old stomping grounds. Would have been nice for him to put one away there.
That is for sure. And given the kind of mixed bag that we've had with in the attack for Knoxville thus far, I mean, one thing that has been the constant has been the ability of those midfielders and Angelo Kelly, Callum Johnson, to chip into the attack and pop up at the top of the box potentially, or those late runs into the box to kind of create those scoring chances. And Callum has shown, and Angelo Kelly as well, that if they've got space from distance, they do have the ability to put that on frame and potentially in for a goal.
Yeah, and that chance came in the 13th minute. We'll flip it around. Greenville had a good opportunity in the second half of this one in the 60th minute. Again, as we mentioned, both teams had opportunities to try to put this one away, or at least to go up at some point. But kind of walk us through this one, Greg.
Exactly. So Knoxville trying to play out of the back, and Greenville kind of breaks quickly, finds Liam McKinnon, who then lays it off to the striker, Rodrigo Grigera. Really does really well to turn one Knoxville SC captain, Jordan Skelton here, has him on his back, is able to swivel and get this shot off. It's really, that's a rare occurrence against the One Knoxville SC captain. And then he ultimately ends up blasting that one off the post, right next to Sean Davis or Sean Lewis's ear there. I'm sure his ear might be still ringing on that one, but
probably a good sound to hear if you hear it hit the post if it gets past you. So that's a welcome sound. Yeah, it may have been a little bit too loud, but hey, that's a good one to hear. So again, they had their opportunities. This game, as we've mentioned, finishes 0-0. But Knox, with that said, you come away with the point in this game. It's an unbeaten streak that is welcome at this point. We had that little bit of a lull at one point. But One Knox, again, going on the road, playing it was a difficult place to play. And can I just point out, the great thing about soccer, U.S. soccer now, we're not seeing a lot of games on football fields that are marked. You know what I'm saying? Those games to me are still difficult to watch sometimes. You're playing on a marked playing surface, a set for
definitely.
football.
It takes away from the viewing experience.
We're seeing a lot more now where you're seeing those soccer, the soccer dimensions. You're not having to try to decipher where's the yellow line or the white line or what have you. So, to me, that was kind of a rarity to kind of watch a game being played on that type of surface. So
Exactly. I know Greenville, yeah, they have been, I think, a stadium specifically for Greenville Triumph, and the women's team also down there in Greenville has been in the works here for a little while, but I know that they've had a very good relationship with Furman playing at Paladin Stadium there.
Beautiful stadium, if you've ever been there for a football game or what have you, and beautiful campus. Furman is fantastic, but it's just, it used to be where that was an everyday occurrence. You remember?
Oh,
it wasn't
absolutely.
that long ago, and now it's completely changed, so.
With Greenville being, I mean, they're one of the kind of, in terms of pedigree in this league, in the 5 years of USL League One, Greenville really has been right at the top for its entire existence. So I think for one of the, top programs in this league to eventually move into their own soccer-specific stadium, I think is going to be a big boost for that program, as well as kind of just the general perception of the league. Because yes, when you do see those games being played on football stadiums, it does take a little bit away from the viewing experience. And I'm sure, it's a challenge for the players, visually, and, some of those turf playing surfaces can be a bit unforgiving. But, we're looking forward to seeing. One of the most interesting things about USL over these last couple of years has been the kind of infrastructure revolution that we've seen. So many leagues so many teams moving into their own stadiums, or
we're talking about Lexington. I mean, there's a good
exactly
example, that they've been working on their own facility up there. Of course, One Knox playing in a soccer-specific stadium now, but we'll be moving to the new ballpark coming up next season. But you're right. We're seeing that with some of the newer franchise, and even those that have been around a while have put together some really amazing, at all different levels of USL, just not USL 1, but USL Championship and what have you.
Exactly. Even in USL League One, Spokane Velocity, one of the expansion team this year, came into the stadium with their own, sterling, brand new soccer-specific stadium in downtown Spokane. Yeah. It's called the One Spokane Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a little bit of Knoxville's going to go on the road at Spokane for the final regular season game of the year. So One Knox at One Spokane Stadium. That will be interesting to see. And I think they actually will be able. Knoxville's going to be hosting Spokane for the first time here in the next couple of weeks in August. But I did want to check out. Bo mentioned the unbeaten streak that One Knox has been able to put together here. So they have extended it, their current streak, to 5 unbeaten. This dates back to Sunday, July 29th in the Cup against Forward Madison, which we got to broadcast here on Channel 6. And went on the road, was able to get a narrow 1-0 win against South Georgia Tormenta, thanks to a Kempis Tequila goal. And then they were able to finally get over the hump against Northern Colorado with a home 1-0 win. Back in the Jägermeister Cup, they had the opportunity to take all 3 points in this one, ultimately ended up conceding late, but was able to win that one on penalties. That one technically goes down as a draw, but that does extend this unbeaten streak, and then the 0-0 with Greenville, of course. So 5 unbeaten. They were able to do that on 2 different occasions last year, so it's going to be exciting to see if they're able to extend that unbeaten streak to a new league record, or a new team record of 6 in a row. And it's just very impressive to see, especially on the back of a really difficult month of June where they lost, and late May where they were losing 4 of their last 5. So you see 4 clean sheets in the last 5 games. I mean, that's just the bread and butter of this One Knoxville team that is going to be the kind of, engine that drives the success.
And it's definitely good to see. And, of course, coming up next is going to be Lexington. That's going to be a cup game. Don't want to jinx anything, but obviously we've done very well against Lexington, the rivals to the north. And then after that, we've got the big game that you'll see actually right here on WAT coming up on August 16th, if you can't make it out to the stadium, against Chattanooga. So, not a lot of time is going to pass since the last time we saw Chattanooga. I will say, I was looking at the schedules. Chattanooga, while we've got 1 game in between, let's see, we'll have 2 games between the last time we played Chattanooga. I think Chattanooga has like 4. So they're going to be pretty busy coming into that game on the 16th. Our guys will get a chance to, they're going to have a few games, but get a chance to rest some legs too. We'll see how that plays out when they get together on that Friday night.
Exactly. A busy beginning of August for this Chattanooga team. Now that they are eliminated from advancing in the Jägermeister Cup, I know that they'll have an opportunity to maybe rotate some players. I know that they're going to be taking on, I believe, Forward Madison, who is in first place in Knoxville and Chattanooga, and
I can't remember.
Chattanooga, Lexington.
They've got a pretty tricky next couple games. Chattanooga does. They're not playing anybody at the bottom of the table. They're going to have a pretty interesting go of it. So we'll see if that, like I said, plays in. We'll see if you can't pull their schedule up here and try to take a look at the Red Wolves. But that's what we've got coming up on the 16th. Again, you're going to see it right here on WATE. They've got a lot planned as far as One Knox is concerned also that night at the stadium. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a second. But it looks like you've got the Red Wolves schedule popped up here.
That's
so it
right.
Shows this is what they've got coming up. So you can see following that game against Union Omaha.
Big win,
which
one of the
is
biggest
huge.
for
Yeah.
Chattanooga this season, and it could be potentially a turning point in their season. Now they're going to host a Central Valley Fuego team this season that really has been one of the low performers in League One, and then they're going to host a Spokane team that's kind of been up and down in their inaugural campaign. So if they're able to get those 2 wins and then head into that One Knoxville game on the 16th, they have potential to really, insert themselves into the playoff conversation after a really difficult start for Chattanooga.
And like you said, they're out of the cup play, but they do have Ford Madison to play on the 10th. It'll be interesting to see how they play that game if they rest a lot of guys, because obviously if they could pull up a couple of wins here, get something going from the regular season standpoint, this will be a very interesting matchup between these two teams. As again, we're kind of heading into that stretch now where everybody's trying to solidify that playoff spot. You want to stay up above that cut line or that drop line. You want to be able to stay up there so you can make the postseason. So this is going to be an interesting matchup, especially to see how Chattanooga's coming into it, and of course see how One Knox is faring as well. But so far, One Knox on that nice little run as far as unbeaten is looking pretty good.
Exactly, and as long as with 4 clean sheets in the last 5 games, just 1 goal conceded. It was that 90 stoppage time equalizer against Chattanooga in the Cup. So if Knoxville is able to continue the defensive solidity that has been their bread and butter for these 2 seasons as a professional club, they're always going to be in contention every game. But once again, we talked about it coming into the season, especially after last season. The question was, how are they going to be able to reinvigorate this attack? And thus far, it hasn't quite come off in a way that they would have hoped. I was looking at the past 2 seasons for Knoxville, and they've now played 50 games in between USL League One across the 2 seasons, and with the 6 matches in the Jägermeister Cup. 50 matches. You want to know how many times that they've scored 3 goals in a single match?
How many?
1 singular time.
Wow.
They beat a Georgia Tormenta team last year 3-1. And besides that, it's been 0s, 1s, and 2s across the board. So we saw them kind of attempt to retool the attack in the offseason, and I think to a certain extent that has paid dividends, just giving them a couple different dimensions in the attack. But thus far, it hasn't quite translated into actual goal production. We talked about Innocent Nshuti, he's the first international player to ever suit up for One Knox, has not quite broken through yet with a goal or an assist for this One Knoxville team. Same goes for Kingsford Ajay. This was a big in-league signing, and I think he's done well to aid with the kind of the ball retention and a little bit of the chance creation aspect of this One Knoxville attack. But same goes for him. He has not been able to contribute as far as a goal or an assist for this One Knoxville team yet. He has been dealing with an injury for part of the season. But unfortunately, we got a couple stats here that we're looking at here.
You put some of these together: 12 goals in 12 league games. That's toward the bottom. 11% shot conversion rate. 15 big chances created. Second fewest. 4th fewest touches in opposition box. So again, it kind of goes back, as you were saying, there's still some work to be done in that attack. But again, when you take a look at some of the numbers that you have put together here, what I'm looking at here, which is very visible when you look at the record and see where they are in the standings, hats off to the guys on the back line, dropping back defense, the gentleman minding the store in net as well. Defensively, they have come up with some very big games.
Exactly. It's been great to see Sean Lewis kind of replicate his performance from the 2023 season, has kind of re-established himself once again as really one of the best keepers in USL League One. They're conceding, 0.8 goals per match in the league on average thus far. That's tied for, I think it's only 9 goals conceded in 12 league matches. So, with a defense that stingy, the floor that they are able to set with that defense and the goalkeeper in the back is just so high. But now the question is, we still don't quite know what is the best attacking kind of who starts in this game, I think, or in a must-win game for One Knoxville. I think we've seen that you would have to say at this point that Kempis Tequila would be one of those players. He's got 5 goals for One Knoxville. He's really hit the ground running since joining from Luxembourg. He wasn't able to suit up in the Greenville match, picked up a little knock that they mentioned on the broadcast. But after that, who is it going to be that is going to be that attacking threat next to them? Is it a Frank Ross? Is it a Rudy Castro? Is it a Kingsford Ajay? Will Innocent Nshuti be able to establish himself as a starter next to Tequila? You know, we still don't know at this point of the season.
Or could it be a new face to the crowd?
That's right.
We have a new addition.
Exactly. Yeah. We have seen a couple of signings across the League One ecosystem in this kind of summer off season here, and they are joined by a brand new forward just signed after playing a couple of matches in the Greek second division by the name of Stavros Zarakostas. He came on late as a substitute in this match versus Greenville. So it's going to be interesting. This is for the second straight season, they have made an attacking signing at the mid-season mark. And
but this is an interesting pickup. You know, like you mentioned, he did come out. We saw him a little bit there, and then he came on the 89th minute, came on kind of late in the game against Greenville. But he's already got some familiarity. Had playing with Charleston Battery. Kelly played with the Charleston Battery. They were teammates at one point. Matter of fact, that's who he came on for in that game against Greenville. So there's some familiarity there with the team, some of the players. But interesting to see how he fits in. We're still trying to learn a little bit more about him. But again, hopefully this will be a big pickup that can be that final little piece to the puzzle as far as an attack that can maybe generate some more goals.
Exactly, yeah. Like you said, you know, hopefully a little bit of that familiarity with, you know, one of the main contributors on this team, Angelo Kelly, from their days together in the USL Championship at Charleston Battery, really one of the preeminent programs at the USL Championship level. And he was playing in Finland for FC Haka, which, you know, from what Wikipedia tells me, I can't say I'm up to date on all my Finnish soccer stuff, but this is one of the, you know, perennial powerhouses in the Finnish soccer league. And
47 appearances. So definitely got a decent amount of playing time, and as you already mentioned, was playing in the Greek second division as well. So
exactly, there's also previously a MLS draft pick for New York Red Bulls. Came out of college soccer, University of Rhode Island. I believe in the release, the head coach Mark McKeever kind of compared his time at FC Haka in Finland to comparable to the level of the USL Championship, so the American Second Division. So you would figure that he's got, you know, shown that he's got the pedigree in a couple different leagues and situations to be a goal scorer. And it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of integrate him into the squad. I mean, obviously it's already a point of emphasis for the coaching staff just to, you know, for him to join last week and then make his debut, you know, within the next couple of days as late as a substitute. But it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of unwinds. We saw last season Gio Calixtro and Rudy Castro come in as midseason signings, kind of a shot in the arm in the attack. And so it's going to be interesting to see if kind of Zarakostas can kind of eclipse that in a way that can really pay dividends as they reach the business end of the regular season, the playoffs, and then hopefully in the knockout rounds of the USL Jägermeister Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we're running a little short on time, so let's move it forward here for a second. We've kind of touched on what's coming up for One Knox. Obviously, we're going to have the big game. You're going to see it here on August 16th when they take on their big rival Chattanooga. That'll be a big game. You saw the standings a few moments ago. We're sitting I think we're fifth. They're sixth right behind us. Still both teams above that playoff line. But again, you'll be looking to kind of cement that over the next several weeks as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season. So there's your top six right now. Chattanooga, that number 6 spot, but that's what's coming up for One Knox. As far as Chattanooga, then you mentioned the Spokane game coming up. We'll get a chance to see them
for the first time.
So it'll be interesting to see. And it kind of goes to show too how USL 1 is growing. We're having, you know, Spokane. You know, we're seeing these teams come up West Coast, Northeast. You know, we've been telling you in a number of these programs about the expansion. So and then down to Florida as well. So which is great to see. So that's coming up. Do want to mention, well, first of all, if you didn't see it, and when I first saw it, I thought, man, another jersey? But no, it's a new training top, and there it is, the diamond jersey. So these things here, I think people will be trying to snag as well. It's a good-looking shirt, but that's going to be one of their training tops now. So with a new sponsor, too, on the training top. And it kind of makes sense why it's called the diamond when you see who the sponsor is.
Exactly. Yeah. Markman Jeweler, very awesome to see, you know, local businesses kind of get their shine at One Knox, whether that's, you know, on some of the gear or along the advertising boards. And, yeah, a really sharp training kit that I could see that as a full kit being one that's really eye-catching.
Yeah, it's a good-looking shirt. And speaking of shirts, you can get your hands on a shirt on August 16th. It's going to be Vol Night again. can see the game here on WAT, or we'd love it if you just pack that stadium as well. But they're going to be honoring, Lady Vol Soccer will be getting ready to kick off. One Knox showing their support. They've got these great orange T-shirts, and you can see it there, $22 Vol Night ticket package. You get your ticket in the Smoky section, plus you get the shirt. Again, One Knox will be taking on Chattanooga coming up on the 16th.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys can see on the stream, but under the Knox here, it says Knoxville's other football team. So, that's one thing you've always been able to say about One Knoxville. They've always been very self-aware about, in this larger ecosystem of sports in Knoxville. But it's great to see a great relationship between the university and this team.
And I was just going to say, and we had Drew McKenna on during our last live broadcast of the One Knox game against Madison, and that's one thing he talked about. The playing at Regal, the upkeep that the university has done, but just the cooperation that they've had and been able to work with the University of Tennessee and using that facility, which is a great facility. And again, their support. If the Lady Vols are doing well, if the youth sports is doing well, if we've got high schools, doing well,
right.
It all generates and helps them out as well. It's one big family is how that works. So I think that was great to see. But yeah, that's coming up for you on the 16th. And again, hey, let's mention this real quick, and then we're going to wrap things up. But UT leads research project to create perfect pitches for FIFA World Cup 2026. Of course, the World Cup coming back to North America. We're going to have Mexico, U.S., and Canada all taking part, and UT going to play a vital role in all of this. This is fantastic.
Exactly. We talked about, really how spoiled One Knoxville is when playing at Regal Stadium. Truly one of the, finest natural grass surfaces, in this league.
And you hear that from other teams. We're just not saying that because we're biased or anything. I mean, you actually hear that from some of the other teams in the league when they come here to take on One Knox.
It really is, a huge feather in the cap for this university, and as kind of a way to get their students involved in some pretty massive events. We talk about it every year at the Super Bowl, I feel like, a number of sports management and turf grass management students do get to go to the Super Bowl each year and kind of see what that's like. And given the all eyes are going to be on, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada for World Cup 2026, still the most profitable and commercially successful World Cup was the first one in the United States in '94. And we're only expecting bigger and better, 30 years later now. And
show them this picture you've got up over here in our preview monitor. Let's pop this up.
Oh, yeah.
This is taking a look at the turf. I don't know if, this is not my front yard. This is pretty impressive, though, when you go back and you take a look at the science of all of this. I can't break this down for you, except to say that I know that's grass and there's some soil there, but I don't know what that is on the bottom. But regardless, it's more than just throwing some seeds down and watering it and putting some fertilizer in and letting it grow. There is a science to this, and they have a great turf management program over there. And I just thought that was a great picture. You kind of cut the slice there to kind of get a better view of what's going on.
Exactly, yeah. We've got some info about this on WATE.com. You can also check out some more info on the UTK News website. This is going to be a program that they are partnering with Michigan State on as far as leading this research program. This is the largest ever sports turf research program specifically for soccer. That's right. It seems like UT is going to be focusing on the conditions, creating the perfect pitch for a domed stadium. You saw one of the greenhouses, I think, on this kind of montage of photos. Right. And UT is going to be focusing on, conditions inside a domed stadium. And whereas Michigan State, they have a 23,000 square foot asphalt, pad at their university to kind of for them to prepare about laying, this grown grass, this grown sod over some of these, indoor surfaces that, unfortunately can't grow their own grass there. We saw this a lot in the Copa America, to mixed effect, unfortunately, this past summer. So there's going to be greater emphasis than ever on, making these, playing surface conditions optimal for this, the pinnacle of sports.
They've come a long way, and that is for sure. I can remember right before '94, I think they played some warm-up games or Confederation Cup games, something like that, at the old Pontiac Silverdome.
Oh, wow.
I remember they were bringing them in, and they were like hexagons, and they were putting stuff together. It was a big U.S. played England that year. But you saw that in some other areas where they were coming in pieces and putting these together. Now it's come so far. So anyhow, that's what's going on. So East Tennessee is going to play a big part in the next World Cup, which will be played on this side of the lake. But anyhow, that's going to wrap things up for us. Again, next week we'll have a lot more. We'll be talking more One Knox. We'll be get you ready for that game on the 16th against Chattanooga. We might even throw in a little Olympics as well, and who knows what else. Maybe we'll talk a little Leagues Cup as well to try to get you up to date on what's going on there.
Exactly. Both the men's and women's at the Olympics in Paris. Some quarterfinals coming up. The men on Friday, and then the women on Saturday morning. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff to get into. And the team is off this weekend, so maybe we'll do a little, goals of the season, moments of the season, some of the best performances thus far. So lots more to get into. So yeah, we'll talk to you guys about it then.
All right, take care.